Welcome to The Open Queue, a podcast where we talk about entertainment, pop culture, and the daily life of navigating the entertainment industry as a creative. I'm your host, Shaka Omari, and I'm joined by my business partner, Charles Malone. We'll sometimes have other creative guests on to tell us about their journey in the industry, dealing with their ups and downs, struggles, and successes. We'll also touch on current changes to the business of television and film, as well as cue up what we're watching, listening to, or a piece of art we've been inspired by. The music you're listening to is the theme to the TV show Martin, composed by Stephen Kitt, Joey Kibble II, Mark Kibble, and Paul Wright III. And now, let's get queued up. Okay. Hey, Charles, I'm excited about this one because this is your Sips and Scripts. You've been looking forward to this, so I'm excited to dive into this. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking about...
Oh, actually, wait. I forgot to ask the question. Were you inspired by anything since I last talked to you?
What was I inspired by? That's a tough one. Not this week, but planning for, because we've been planning this episode for a while.
Uh-huh.
I'm inspired by like what we're going to sip today, or more so who it's named after in their story, which is Uncle Nearest.
Hey.
Uncle Nearest was the former slave taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey.
Nice.
And there's so many unsung heroes throughout history, within the Black community. And it's nice that his family was able to get this company off the ground and get his name out there and tell this story. And out there somewhere, I know someone's working on an Uncle Nearest script. They have to be. They have to be. You're talking about a former slave that then helps create one of the greatest American whiskey.
I would like to hope so, except for the fact that I read recently that Donald Trump is trying to go through the museums now, especially the Smithsonian and things like that, and change the fact that slavery is talked about so much and all these things of that nature in his mind are considered dwelling on the bad parts of the United States past, and we need to have more things that are optimistic and whatnot. Not to get political, I'm just saying.
So that is sad if we're not going to dive and derail this whole episode for Trump's stupidity. But if we're going to focus on all the good stuff in history, if we're going to go back 400 years, or just American history, and so we're going to go back to the Mayflower, and we're only going to focus on eating turkey and pretend that nothing happened else during that time.
Yeah, you see, I just knew that was going to get you going.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Sit down and eat your shit sandwich. This is how you learn from history. Instead, what they're doing is using history as a blueprint to do some horrific shit. So we're using history in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I say all that just to say, I do hope somebody doesn't buckle under the pressure and not do this, because I think this is an interesting story to talk about, and it is a part of American history.
Yeah, I'll just note, before we move on to sipping some sips, just if something's making you feel bad, examine that. Ask yourself why. Go inward,
You mean go get some therapy?
I don't care what you do, but you over here trying to take slavery out of history because it makes you feel bad about yourself, or I'm not getting on this. Welcome to Scripts and Sips. We're back. Uncle Nearest is on the review. Also, while we sip on Uncle Nearest, it is sad. One little thing going on with Uncle Nearest right now. It seems like they're in a little bit of legal hot water, I guess. They're saying that the Uncle Nearest whiskey distillery has defaulted on his $100 million loan.
Oh no.
Which the owner is disputing and saying this is just trying to smear the good name of the company, and that, they try to do everything right on their end, even firing the CFO. But I hope that this doesn't ruin Uncle Nearest. I think that it's good that we have more Black businesses, especially ones with the history of Uncle Nearest. But
yeah,
let me get to taking my first third sip.
Yep. So yeah, I know you've been sipping over there. I haven't even tried this yet, but let's hope that there's some people that help step in and help, because again, it is part of American history. And let's take a sip of this, or my first sip. Have you ever had this before? I know you had 3 sips just now, but had you ever had this before?
Yeah, I had a friend actually give me a bottle as a gift, and even though I think after our first scripts and sips, I think we started with one of my favorite. I'm a really big Scotch person, so I'm not really big into bourbons or the Jack Daniels itself. It's not bad.
Okay. All right.
Let's get into it first.
Yeah. Yeah, it smells nice from what I'm smelling here. Let's take a sip. It's okay. Yeah. It's a little bit. I mean, and I think we talked last time that my palate's not the best at this. It is a little bit different than Macallan for me. It feels a little spicier, to be honest. Like there's like a spice or something in there.
There's definitely spices. You got a little bit of the sweetness, like brown sugar, vanilla.
Yeah.
Tones.
Okay. Yeah, I did taste a little bit of that. It is sweet. Yeah. Okay.
A little bit of citrousness, if that's a word.
The seriousness. Look, the coaster just fell off the table because it was like, what are you talking about? Citrousness? So I can smell the citrus before I take a sip.
It's almost like orange.
Like orange, yeah. Like a little bit of orange or something like that. But I feel like there's some kind of...
like cinnamon or clover.
Yeah, something like that to it. But okay, I could see like sipping this. This would be nice. I'm trying to think like what I would... I feel like, okay, cigars for sure. Not that I'm a cigar smoker, but I feel like this is a nice smoke a cigar too, or maybe a steak.
Okay. I haven't had whiskeys and cigars until last November for the first time.
How was it?
I'm not a cigar smoker, so I don't think I'll smoke cigars much in the future. But it did change the flavor profile of the whiskey 100%.
Interesting. Okay.
And if you're like a whiskey connoisseur and you've never tried whiskeys and cigars, I recommend doing it at least once. You don't have to inhale fully into the lung. It's more so like getting a mouthful. So, yeah. But it was a wonderful experience. I'm just not big on smoking myself.
Right.
But how it changed the flavor and enhanced the flavor of what we were drinking, I would 100% do it again just for the sheer experience.
That's nice. That's kind of like with red wine and certain like meats that you like steaks or red meats. When you bite into it and then take a mouth or a sip of red wine, it enhances the flavor.
See, I'm gonna have to try that next. Wine is definitely not my thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we'll have to do a sips and scripts with wine just cause.
We can. It's not whiskey. It's just for us to have fun, sip something, talk about what we're shows, things that we love. But while we're viewing this, right away before we jump into kind of what we want to discuss today, I can see you replacing the old like Jack and Coke with Uncle and Coke.
Oh, I like that. Uncle and Coke. Actually, now I'm curious about it. Uncle Coke. Yeah.
I'm gonna get Uncle and Coke. Yeah, I give it like 3 sips out of 5. Even though I only drink like 5 sips right now, but I'll give it like
yeah, because it seems like you kind of like this one. You know what? This would also be this, and not to like put it in a box, but the box, if I had to, it feels like a Christmas whiskey. Like I could see during Christmas time, because there's that cinnamon I think you're talking about, but I could see this like on a Christmas morning, especially if you're in a cold spot, pouring a little bit of this. Yeah, maybe a hot toddy.
Oh, I could definitely do this in a hot toddy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That lemon and honey has a cinnamon kind of vibe in there. Yeah. Definitely on the ice kind of person. I think straight, this goes down a little rough for me personally.
A little spicy.
Yeah, I already don't have hair on my chest and I don't need it.
I got too much. Cool. All right. Well, I think this, it's an interesting story that he's the person that helped Jack Daniels, which we all know is a staple here in the United States. And I think this goes really well with our theme, Black Primetime, past, poor, and present. And today, we'd love to touch on some of the Black shows that we had, especially during the 90s, and what that influenced and how that helped us. And in part, we want to take a moment. I know some time has passed, but we do want to take a moment to just raise a glass, pour one out, as they say, for Malcolm Jamal Warner. He passed away. And I know for me, he was a big part of my childhood being on The Cosby Show. He was kind of like the TV older brother I looked up to, being a firstborn older brother.
Yeah, and it was like really such a good time. I feel like that late 80s, early 90s for, black television and like films, right? I think like Do the Right Thing was around that time. Cosby Show, the spinoff Different World, Family Matters.
Oh yeah.
Martin, Fresh Prince, Living Single, even dipping into like the later 90s for the younger generation, like my cousin Skeeter, hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Gullah Gullah's Island for those who remember that show.
I don't think I saw that one. Coco's Island?
It was a kids show about a black, they're like Jamaican Islander family, and they
No
had like
way.
a frog. Yeah, Gullah Gullah's Island. Yeah,
I have to look for that. I mean, being Afro-Caribbean, first generation American, I did not know about that one. That's interesting. Okay.
yeah. I don't even know if that's the name of the show. Let's see. No, it was Gullah Gullah Island, and had like a yellow frog. It was definitely
Oh, yeah. Looking at it now. No,
a Caribbean show.
But you know what? I'm an elder millennial, as they call us. So I probably missed this. Maybe this is like my siblings.
So why I bring this up for prime time is I think moving away from the like later 90s into the early thousands, I think it's switched, and this pendulum seems to be constantly swinging with how we depict Black culture in television and film. And do we cater to a white audience who wants to see a specific part of our culture?
You were saying, do we want to see cater to a specific?
So do we want to see the rise from like drug dealer to corporate office, whether it shows like Power or Empire or Hustle and Flow? I realize two of those things have Terrence Howard in them. Hey, man. Not throwing any shade to Terrence Howard, except for 1 + 1 = 2.
Oh, man. You just can't. Everybody with the bullets, just strays. For those that don't know, Charles is notorious for throwing stray bullets at people for no reason in any conversation. So that's what I mean by throwing strays.
No, but it seems like, okay, it seems like we do revert back to like just Snowfall, even though Snowfall was a great show. You know, I feel like we had missed some of those shows like Different World and Fresh Prince. And what I like is like the new shows, like we talked about this the last episode, Insecure, Atlanta, Harlem, who like are showcasing we're not a monolith.
Love that. Yeah. That I think for me was growing up, like when we talk about primetime 90s, all those shows that you mentioned, you know, Moesha and whatnot, there was a joke that my siblings and I used to have, because at the time there was this network called UPN, which I think was like bought up by Warner Brothers and turned into the CW, which funny enough, I think at that time when it did that is when a lot of those shows disappeared. But we used to call it the Other People Network, using the U as a funny O for other, because it was like all the shows for us. But what I loved about that time period, being someone, and this may sound a little controversial, but I'm going to say it, being someone that's first generation American, and my parents came from Trinidad and Tobago, y'all. Yep. Shout out to TNT, where it was a majority of Black people because it's a Black country. But there was not a lot of the stigmatism that African Americans or Black people here in America get of what you can and can't do. Because you see doctors, you see police officers, you see people in government, because, I mean, it's a Black country. So growing up here, first generation, it always felt like I was not, like I didn't fit in, because there was this aspect of what people said Black culture is supposed to be. And I realized we're not a monolith. Like, it's just the way that society perceives us in different locations, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I think that it must be different. And I don't know, being American myself, I'd love to have some of our friends from over the seas come in. When you grow up in a homogeneously Black culture, you probably have a different view of Blackness, because you just grew up with people that look like you, who literally can do anything because you can. To get here and have to adapt to, you know, American or Western like racism and the like structure that we have must be tough.
Yes.
But these shows, I feel like Girlfriends and like Everybody Hates Chris, the Bernie Mac show, like, man, was it like such a good time.
Yeah. I mean, it made me, and I know like there's that saying of like representation matters. It does, because it, like, again, looking at those shows, I saw the people that I saw in my family who were, you know, went to college, graduated from Howard. Yeah, shout out to Howard. It really showed me, hey, this stuff is normal. I remember, if I could get personal, an argument I had with one of my good white friends in high school in like the late 90s, like I want to say like 98 or so. And we had a back and forth discussion where he was telling me, well, he was blacker than I because he knew the lyrics to rap songs better than I did, which if anyone that knows me knows, I tend to listen to things more musically than I do lyrically. So I will hear the rap beat and be interested in the song from the beat before I even listen to the lyrics. I'm a soundtrack kind of guy. That's the way I just put it. And I said, that doesn't prove that you're blacker than me. He's like, well, you don't even talk black. And I looked at him, and this is at the time when I'd been bullied all the time about I wasn't black enough and this and that I'd gotten to a point where I was like, okay, well then how is it that black people speak? And when I said that, and remember we were in the cafeteria, everyone looked at him like, yes, do explain. How do they speak? And that's when he fell apart. And later on, he apologized to me. But at that time, I realized, oh, there is a certain stigma of what a black person is supposed to be versus a black person is just somebody that has a skin color that is black. And we're not a monolith.
Yeah, there's many aspects to the black culture. And I think that they being like the general rest of the public that's not within the community. And there's a little gatekeeping that happens internally in the community because like there's a reason why Oreos and all these things existed that other black people call other black people to be like, you're not black enough. But I like to look back on the times when I was growing up on seeing shows like Smart Guy and Sister Sister, where you're just seeing just black people existing in spaces where they're just going to school and just being black in life that didn't have to do with the sport or selling drugs or like just black people just existing.
And being human, making good grades, being doctors, being lawyers, being, politicians, just existing.
Yeah, I would not even put in a label to what they were doing, just existing. Just existing. And I think sometimes growing up, we were held to a different standard where people are like, I'm so proud of you. You're not in like, you don't have any kids, you're not in jail, you're not I'm like, you mean
like that's the expectation that you can achieve to.
Yeah, like like no one should be doing those things at 15. Like, when you?
Yeah.
Ideally, no one should be doing those things at 15. Hopefully, everyone has different upbringings, but like that's what you'd hopefully want from a 15-year-old.
Yes, especially in today's society with all the opportunities that they have ahead of them. Something you said, though, I was very curious about how you were talking about like this. We're talking in the 90s and like how it seems, and I say like when CW took over UPN, it felt like it just became okay, and this is going to sound controversial again, but our joke for CW was clearly white because a lot of the shows were predominantly white shows like Dawson's Creek and...
I watched Dawson's Creek. I know what Pacey, yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah.
I watch all the TV. Latchkey Kid.
Exactly. And that's the thing I think was interesting is as a black person, it wasn't a problem watching the CW and watching those shows the same way it wasn't watching. It was just human experiences. The people just happened to have a skin tone. But the reason I was curious about like when CW took over UPN and it felt like a lot of those shows disappeared, you said something where it feels like the pendulum swings one way and swings another. And I feel like that was the same way, like a couple of people I know were making a joke about the time that Sidney Poitier got the honorary Oscar, then Denzel won the Oscar, then Halle Berry won the Oscar. And it was like, okay, this is Black people Oscar, and then let's swing it back. Do you feel like that tends to happen because of trends, or do you feel that tends to happen because it's just the way that people in power look at things?
Well, I'm about to make life harder for myself, which I do regularly.
I know, I did ask you a tough one.
Yeah, no, I'm going to step in front of this train. I think it's partially a two thing. It does seem partially intentional in the way of things that come out subconsciously that white guilt. I don't know, say less words. White guilt. Like, so when they're done feeling guilty, it seems to swing back to
the status quo.
Yeah. Because you look at 2020, like the whole Black Lives Matter, anti-Asian hate, like you went on Hulu, Disney, Prime, and it was like, what struck me right away is it was Black Lives Matter collection. And collection means that it was coming to an end. Every time I saw that they were putting it to the front with the word collection to it,
it's like, saying, hey, we're just packaging this nicely for you to consume in this moment in time.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Disney Vault. Like, get it now because it's going back into the vault.
I was like, oh man, this is just it's gonna come back the other way. And at first it started with like period pieces, which seems easier to cast. But you can easily dance around the conversation of diversity, but this is just a time period. To more contemporary films just set in more white towns, which I'm never a really big fan of using black and brown people as props in films, just to say like the film or town's diverse because look at all these people in the background that you place there like a cup. Like, but there's not a lot of speaking roles and even small speaking roles. And it's like, okay, so you know that you need to make the film diverse because clearly there's diverse extras, but you don't need diverse people at the front. So I think it absolutely does swing back and forth. But I think that we do for every like Power or Snowfall, we do get shows like Abbott Elementary.
Right.
Again, people existing in space, and Abbott is a huge success.
Right.
And I think
Sinners, huge success.
So I think we'd like to see us exist in spaces and just do cool stuff. I think there's a large black and brown being like, Indian descent and Spanish who would like to just see characters that look like them.
Oh, like Spider-Man.
In cool spaces. Have you ever seen a largely sci-fi movie with black and brown people? Not really.
Yeah, like the joke that there's, black people in space.
Lovers like Star Wars SNL skit.
No, we don't go to space.
We're all on one planet. What's the name of the planet?
I don't even remember that.
Hal Karun.
In Star Wars. Hal Kun, I think is what it's called.
That's where all the black people live in Star Wars. They live on one planet.
Yeah. And funny enough, if you read that book, which I'm a fan of that book, it's called, it's Mace Windu. Shatterpoint. Funny enough, if you read that book, you'll start to realize that the black people on that planet are kind of like in an apartheid. So the Empire, has all these people and they're kind of like the white Afrikaners and the black people are the jungle fighters, that kind of thing. It does make me wonder, do you feel though that this is because the mentality is that you're so used to seeing stories that are white-centered, it's not necessarily like a racist thing? To your point, maybe part of it is white guilt, but it's also part of it's like main character thing where you don't even acknowledge or you don't realize like the other people are in existence.
Don't think it's just clear, blatant racist and malice. And that would be simple. I think like people, it's inherently more complex than that because you have unconscious biases. You have sometimes things that you don't necessarily realize you're doing until someone points it out. And then from that point, it's up to you if you know better to do better. It's also really easy to confuse or mistake ignorance for racism. I'm in a interracial relationship with someone from the Chinese community. I think a lot of things that happen and are said sometimes, I realize aren't coming from a point of like malice, just that they generally don't know. And I don't take a lot of offense to things because I've realized that like, oh, they're not like trying to be racist. They literally don't know. So it's ignorance. But once you know.
Right. It's no longer, it's willful ignorance at that point.
Yes. And that's when it's just like, okay, now you're right. Because you do know the difference. So maybe I just have a better understanding of like the difference between the two, but there's a thin line sometimes.
Agreed. Because it's very interesting. Like for me as an actor, especially in like the early 2000s, I remember I was in one of those workshops with a casting director, great lady, and she was giving me advice because she liked the work that I was doing in the class, and then she said, Shaka, I'm just curious. I don't know if you know, but like right now, there's a lot of, you know what? Never mind. And I was like, no, what? Like, but what are you talking about? What's? Go ahead and say it. And she's like, well, and she looked to the ground. She couldn't even look me in the eyes when she said this. She was like, well, there's a lot of roles for like, the thug and the drug dealer and the gangster. It's really hot right now. It's just, I just didn't think that actually fits your role. And I looked at her and I said, oh, well, yeah, I know about those roles, but what about Stringer Bell? And she lit up. She was like, "Oh, good point." And I was like, "See, it's," and I don't think she's a casting director. I don't think she has a racist bone in her body. I don't know. I don't know the woman that personally, but it's like her own unconscious bias, and based on the things that she was seeing, she couldn't see me as the head of the institution, like the way that people look at, Al Capone or whatnot.
Like Carlos Esposito in Breaking Bad.
Exactly. I couldn't be the head. I could only be the whatever they call it, the grunt. And so when I reminded her that Idris Elba played the head of that whole institution in The Wire, she was like, "Oh, that's where you fit." And that's when I was like, I see. And now I understand why people made those big pushes about representation matters, because it's not just for the people that look like us. It's also for the people that don't look like us, for them to be able to see us in a different light. Because if they're the ones casting the role and they look at me and they say, "I can't cast you because you're Black and there's no thug roles," it's like, you have done yourself a disservice and me a disservice, because clearly my talent is good. You just don't think because of some bias, I can't fit into another role.
Oh, yeah. There's I forget which sketch comedy show it's from. And I'm going to bring up two right after this. But there's a classic, and this was in Malibu's Most Wanted, like when two Juilliard or very like prestigious like actors are in
there's a commercial like that.
The casting room, and they're going over these very stereotypical like lines, and they can hear the other dude in there how he's doing it.
Uh-huh.
And it's just the joke's told all the time because it hasn't really changed. It's changed, but not much.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I remember before I even graduated high school to pursue this professionally, there was a Sprite commercial where it was some dudes playing basketball, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, and the director's like, cut. And the Black actor goes, "Oh my God, why is it we're cutting again? I'm a theatrical trained." And he's like, he goes into this like British accent and is just like, highfalutin, I guess is what you would call it. And I was just like, wow, I didn't realize I would actually face that once I graduated. I thought it was just a joke.
No, it's real. The two sketch comedy shows, one got canceled, and I'm a little bit sad. I know comedy is subjective, but it was called Astronomy Club on Netflix.
Yes.
And I think that everyone should watch Astronomy Club, because part of it was like a bunch of different Black comedians. And part of the jokes in some of the episodes were about not being a monolith. So there was like a Black dude from Canada and a light-skinned Black dude from like Oakland. And just like everyone came from a different background, but they're all Black. And the sketches reflected that. I thought it was a hilarious show. Sketch comedy, there's never going to be a 10 for 10 hit on all the sketches.
Right.
But there are some solid gems in there. The tea, when they're like sipping the tea.
Yeah.
Hilarious episode when they all decide to have like a soul food dinner and everyone brings like a potluck. And there's the one Black girl that like can't cook. So she's trying to make like Black Eyed Peas milkshakes and stuff. And you're just like, no. Then Famalam, which is English. Hilarious.
Oh, no, I don't know that one. Famala?
Famalam is a Black sketch comedy show from England with some like hilarious sketches, man. One is with this dude from The Bloods. I don't remember his. Bloods is a TV show about like a paramedic who's has an unlikely friendship with like this older white woman. And like these two people shouldn't get on, but they're forced to work together. Hilarious show. But he's one of the stars in Famalan. They have some solid sketches. One of my favorite ones is two rival British gangs, and they're talking to each other via like TikTok or Instagram shorts. And it's like, "Hey, bruv, you over there in the West Side Crew, and they're going back and forth. But then they realize that it's a misunderstanding. It's like, "Oh, I didn't know your friend was going through that. My man's is also going through the same thing. We want to send much love." Another guy's like, "We appreciate it, listen Black, but, don't give." The other guy's like, "What do you mean don't give?" And they go back to fighting again. And it's brilliant. One of the guys is gay, and he's like, "Well, my man's gay too." He's like, "Oh, much love. What's his name? My man's not interested in your man. Was my man not good enough for your man?" Then they have the Nigerian aunties, who is like a fight who can take the most food home after a meal.
Oh, yeah.
It's solid. And then the last one I also think got canceled, unfortunately, was Time Warp. It's a great musical sketch
Time Warp
comedy show.
I don't think I know that one.
No, it's Time Loop. It was, Jesus, why does it escape my brain right now? Tiffany Daniels was on the show, and I was so surprised when I saw her on the show, and I was like, oh, I know that person.
Shout out to Tiffany, by the way. She's an amazing actress. We've worked with her a couple of times. And she's also on a podcast called Let's Pod with our friend David
Yes.
Hawk. So shout out to them.
Shout out to Let's Pod.
Let's Pod.
And David.
Tiffany and David, yeah.
Sherman Showcase, 2 seasons.
Okay.
Insane cameos. It's like the show that rivaled Soul Train at the time is the fake like premise.
Oh,
And
okay.
they do sketches around musical performances and fake commercials.
Oh,
The
okay.
Frederick Douglass commercial is great. There's a commercial for That Beat Stank Face. Is when you have the like that. Oh, dude, there's some great sketches in there and some great like sketch comedy musical numbers. Like they have John Legend. They have like I think Anderson .Paak comes on and does an episode. Like it was great.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I would love to see more content like that. Also, more content that explores things from the Caribbean or from Africa.
Yeah.
I really love. I think it was like His House. It's a horror film that you probably
me in horror. Nope.
If there's ghost or spookiness, Shaka is
nope. Jordan Peele got it right. Nope.
Well, shout out to all the Jordan Peele horror films putting black faces in these like movies or usually don't survive. But His House was about immigrants migrating to England, and it's about the trauma that followed them, and it's about grief. Great horror film. Definitely recommend it. Not for you.
Yeah, no. I'm going to have to like sage my house after you talk about this.
But we get to see different cultures, different like faces. I loved Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, so I did like that one. That one was cool. I didn't think it was scary.
Well, because it had the sci-fi elements to it. One of my favorite episodes is Hippolyta when she like goes through space. And
so cerebral. Yeah. That's my kind of thing. Man, I mean, like, so it's interesting because you bring up like those things that have popped up since like this great Black prime time that we had. And all of those are really good shows. And it's very interesting to me because with Sinners that came out, and now Warner Brothers is saying that they're going to do more original content because not only Sinners, but F1 and some other things. It's very interesting to me that, like, I think it's been proven that it has nothing to do with us being a monolith. It has to do with the human experience that we have. And those stories can be told regardless of what the skin culture is.
Well,
skin culture.
at the end of the day, no, and I said this on a previous podcast. I think once we get to the point where we can replace cultural comparison with cultural appreciation, maybe we can stop fighting about some of the same things we just historically keep fighting about. Because underneath it all, no matter where you come from, the core set of emotions are intrinsically human. Someone in your family dies and you're close to them, no matter where you come from, you're gonna grieve. Yeah, this is going to be this like deep sadness. The same thing goes with joy and happiness, and that's why when films like Sinners or Everything Everywhere All at Once seem to be culturally specific, actually end up hitting a wider audience. That's because underneath it, they crafted this story that's universally resonant because the emotions are the same.
And I think that's what helped with like Black Primetime being as successful. I don't think it was because it was just Black people watching it. I believe it's because other people also enjoyed that content.
Okay, so I got a mini like round table of questions for you.
Oh, snap. I don't know if I'm prepared for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not pop quiz.
Okay, not like Speed, right? No bus is going to blow up or anything.
No.
All right, hit me.
What's the show from like the golden age? So we call it the golden age for us being like our time. So 80s through like 2000.
Yeah.
What's a show that still hits hard or the hardest for you?
From the prime time, huh? Honestly, for me, I feel like it's probably Martin.
Okay.
You know,
Man Fit Floor. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Martin was just so crazy with his hijinks that it just, okay. Now, besides that, if we could go early 2000s, I know we said primetime 90s, but if we could go early 2000s, Chappelle Show.
Okay. Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
I can quote the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
I guess hits hard of subjects, like what hits hard to you.
Yeah.
Comedy wise, definitely it was never anything like the Chappelle Show really. After like Jordan Peele they came close with the
Key and
Key and
Peele.
Peele.
Yeah.
I rewatched all of Living Single.
It's good.
Holy shit!
It's good.
The show
Yeah.
is still relevant and point like today.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good. Actually, it just like you watch it and you're like, is this? You know when you watch something like, is this going to be outdated or does it hold up?
Yeah.
Holds up. Not only holds up, is extremely relevant.
I'll have to circle back. I'll have to circle back to that because I know I liked it when it was on.
Yeah.
But to your point, like you saying, actually, I think I was kind of young, so it was just comedy and fun for me.
It was one of those adult shows that like I'd catch snippets of, but you don't always understand the jokes because, you know, stay in a child's place.
Yeah. It's like Looney Tunes.
To some of the adult humor that's in there.
Yeah.
You rewatch it. But rewatching it through the lens of an adult now, I'm like, oh man, I get it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to circle back to that. Next question.
What's your favorite Black sitcom character of all time? That's hard, of all time.
All time. Sitcom character. Okay. Urkel was funny. I won't, again, I feel like it's just Martin. I feel like Martin Lawrence was just so out of pocket all the time. That he just had me, and that cast was just so good. Gosh, I can't. Tommy, bald dude, who nobody ever knew what his job was. I feel like it's just, for me, it's Martin, because he was just so clever. Though, Living Single, see, like, you got me going down now. Living Single, what's his face with the deep voice? I can't think of the character's name, but he was the one that was really suave sounding. Yeah, loved him because he was just so, like, I wanted to be him. I wanted to be like suave and intelligent like that. I wanted to have my voice just be like, hey, ladies, the way that he was just cool. He was cool to me. I don't know if I have a favorite of all time. Maybe I'll go with those two. What about you? Well,
I'm trying to stay. I have two different ones, right? I know he's out here being strange, but I still think for me going back and watching reruns and like across my entire childhood to adulthood would be Fresh Prince. And it's still like Will Smith in the role.
Yeah. He was good in that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I watched it as a kid. I watched reruns. I watched reruns again in like late teens, early 20s. And with the show getting remade, like Fresh Prince still holds up. That like dad episode where he's like, why my dad didn't want me.
Yeah, that hurts.
When he gets arrested, Uncle Phil has to come like, there's so... Yeah. The hijinks he would get into. Like Fresh Prince OG. Now, you cheated and you went outside to the early thousands. I have to jump 5 years. I'm going to say Huey and Riley from the Boondocks.
Dang it. That's such a good show. Okay, because fair.
Just there's such a quotable show. There's so many like great episodes.
Fair. Yeah. How's that gonna borrow a French fry? Yeah. I muted myself on that one.
Which modern show do you think isn't getting enough love?
Modern Black show or modern sitcom?
Modern Black show. We're staying in like current time, trying to black shows on television right now.
Man, that's a tough one. I don't know because you know what? I started Top Boy. Haven't finished it. I haven't seen Forever, but I heard that was really good. I don't know if it's getting enough attention. Shoot. I think you got me on that one. I don't know if there's one that I think that hasn't gotten attention from what I know. I feel like, and maybe it's because it seems like it's so far and few between that when it comes out, like everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. I don't know. What about you?
I watched a decent amount. Like I'm like in between on the Wonder Years. I watched like the first season, on and off of Queen Latifah's Equalizer.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's the Bel Air, which I don't think is not getting enough love because Bel Air's getting, I think, a lot of good love. I think one of the polarizing ones of the modern time, which I've talked to people about, and it seems to be like split, but I'm picking one that I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed it more than the rest of their series, was #Black as Fuck.
I didn't watch that.
Hit for me.
Yeah.
That's the Kenya Burton show where he's like...
Oh, I did watch that on Netflix.
It's like a
with his kids.
TV show.
Yeah. No, I liked it. Yeah, that was controversial.
It was polarizing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it wasn't getting a lot of the love. One that's probably not going to get any love that I honestly put on in the background to support, but end up watching some of it. And maybe it's just slightly nostalgic and it might not be that good, but I'm enjoying it. It's Pop's House.
Oh, I don't know.
It's Damon Wayans and his son. I can never remember his son.
That came out already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damon Wayans Jr. What do I mean?
Yeah.
Wayans Jr. I kind of like it.
I'm gonna have to watch that one. I didn't realize that was out already. I remember they were doing press for it, but I haven't watched a lot of TV, to be honest, in a while.
My mom binge watched all of George Washington Black.
Yeah.
It was a slow burn. I have to go back.
Same. What'd she think?
She loved it. She binge watched it all the night. I even sat with an older. He's from Hong Kong, so Chinese British. And his wife is older Scottish woman. They're in their 60s. They watched all of it and really enjoyed it. They didn't say it was slow, but they said like it gets whimsical later on. So maybe I didn't give it enough episodes.
Okay.
But if it takes me 3 episodes to get into a show, Andor.
I know. Why is Andor catching strays? What did Andor do to you?
Because everyone was like, "Oh, gotta get." I felt like it opened strong. And then it slowed it down. I was like, here's the hook. And I was like, okay. And then it like went to a crawl. And then admittedly, episode 3 and on, it was good. But I'm like,
that is the same as Game of Thrones. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
Yeah, Game of Thrones slows down halfway through.
No.
Yeah. You get the White Walkers, then you get a whole bunch of political stuff and whatnot.
His head cut off.
At the end of the season, brother.
No.
Oh, come on.
You get zombies right away.
Yeah, the hook, like Andor. Anyways, moving on. Next question.
Okay, this is controversial because, again, we're not a monolith. What do we still need more of in, like, Black film and television?
I feel like we're doing a great job with horror, especially with like Jordan Peele, with Sinners, the Nigerian horror that you were talking about. I would like, I think, more comedies like Abbott Elementary and Blackish. I think those, I think they're coming back with A Different World, I think Reboot or something like that. And I would like some more dramas, but hear me out.
More drama?
Yeah, I like drama. Not in my real life, but on TV. But hear me out. You know, like how we have Grey's Anatomy, right? And it's in Seattle, and it's multicultural, right? There's Black people, there's people from all over. I would like that. But how about we drop it into like a Black hospital in Chicago, for example, or something? Or we do like a college drama where there's, a historically Black college, but there's other people in there. Maybe there's that, but I would like more of that. I would like more of an ER or a PIT or a CSI or something, or even a police drama where it's a lot of the Black cops having to deal with these situations, just to circumvent the idea that we're a monolith even more in these other areas. So imagine it's a lot of Black cops in a small town, which I know may not be realistic, with a lot of white people, just to circumvent that. So it's like, hey, people do shitty shit, not because of a certain skin tone, but because of socioeconomic status. And what is that like if somebody who has the power doesn't necessarily abuse the power? I think that would be nice.
So, okay. Well, my first gut was like, do we need more dramas? But I do hear you.
I like drama.
I'm tossing one out to the universe. I don't think it's right for us, even though I wouldn't say no. But the first modern EMS, so like medical emergency service in the United States, was the Freedom House Ambulance Service, established in Pittsburgh in 1967, which was all Black trained paramedics at that time.
Yep.
Which I didn't know that. And that would be a great historical drama. Would it be a limited series? Or whatever. But yeah, okay, I hear that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Oh, and fantasy. More Black people in fantasy, because I'm a nerd.
That's what I was expecting. And that's where, obviously, we're cut from the same cloth, because I would like to see us in some really cool universes. Like, every time I see a video game or a fantasy world with the majority like white and Asian cast, and people are like, well, Black people didn't exist in this time period. And I'm like, neither did dragons. Because like one exists in real life and one never existed at all. So why can't we exist in this fantasy world?
And I would like to challenge that thought for people. It's just that you have the history of people at that time coming from those particular regions. But there's Black people were alive in Africa. The same way that Native Americans were alive in America. You can pick on any of those things and drop them into fantasy.
My thing is that like you can imagine orcs and elves, but you can't imagine people with brown skin. Not even just saying Black people. You can't imagine people with brown, or like wild.
Yeah,
wild. You can imagine a thing with wings that breathes fire and shit sparkles.
Right, but a Black wizard. What?
Yeah, I would like to see more fantasy and like high sci-fi. Like traveling space with aliens, doing cool shit. Like
high sci-fi. I think you can. I'm going to ask people to bend their mind because you've seen Black Astronauts. With fantasy, what I will ask you to do is to fantasize.
Yeah.
And just try it. Just a fantasy.
And just from the Black community, for the who are out there, like keep writing and creating Black fantasy and sci-fi. It's a good time to be a Black nerd, especially Gen Z and Alpha coming up next. Yo, so you could run. Because I'm going to tell you right now, growing up, you're still a little older than I am, so I know you know, it was not cool to be a nerd.
Nope.
Comic books, anime, and for all the people who are saying, like, you're into anime now, you were also calling those same people nerds and lame and herbs, depending on where you were.
There's no we walk so you could run. We crawled so you could run. You guys skipped the walking part.
So everyone who's on the Michael B. Jordan train of like, oh, he's in bullshit. If you saw Michael B. Jordan at 12 talking about Naruto, you weren't messing with it.
Yep. I can 100% say yes, because Michael B. Jordan is not that much younger than me.
So yeah, I'd like to see more nerd stuff. Rurouni Kenshin, like 100%.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, those are my little roundtable questions for you. Well, we set this Uncle Nearest and do some hot takes on how people need to relax. But one more time, RP, to Michael Jamal Warner and to all the Black creatives still like making space for cool stuff and joy and nuance, who understands that, we're all the one community with like multiple different facets. Cheers to all of you.
Cheers to all of you, 100%. In the words of, I can't even remember what anime this was, but I'm just going to quote this line: go forth and do battle. So with that, you can follow us at OpenQ Productions at IG. You can follow me personally at Shaka Omari, ShakaOmari. And you can follow Charles Chuck Malone at, I'm going to say it, Belly.
Follow me at Good Belly. That's my at Good Belly on the Belly app. Restaurants around LA, to anywhere where I go. Wherever it is, go check it out.
Yep. All right.
Wait, before then, if we're going to do the Good Belly, Alta Adams and West Adams, My 2 Cents, which is also that Pico area. You got Serving Spoon.
Have you been to the French place on West Adams, the bar?
Oh, not yet. Oh, Met at Paris.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I have gotten a drink there. Post and Beam, which I think might be actually gone now, unfortunately, but it was delicious. But go eat some Poppy and Rose downtown.
Okay.
It's Black-owned good restaurants.
Yeah, I don't venture too far downtown, but I might give that a try. All right.
The grocery store.
Or the grocery store. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time in the queue. The Open Queue is an Open Queue production. All opinions are solely our own and not endorsed or reflective of Uncle Nearest. Please drink responsibly. If you or a loved one has a problem with alcohol, you can find support by calling 1-800-662-HELP or visit the website at samhsa.gov. If you like the show, be sure to follow, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Also, feel free to share a link to someone who you think might really enjoy this conversation. The music you're currently listening to is the opening theme of the TV show Living Single, called We Are Living Single, performed by Queen Latifah. Until next time, see you in the queue.